Flooding in Albany, New York. Heavy rains triggered a flash flood actually in Albany Wednesday morning. High waters closed roads, forced evacuations, and triggered hundreds of power outages. And the National Weather Service estimates about 3 to 5 inches of rain came down in some parts, and a state of emergency has been declared in the area. Now we go north to Anchorage, Alaska, where they got their first non-mountainous snowfall of the season. About an inch of snow fell Tuesday night, and according to the National Weather Service, it's really not going to stick around too much because they have been pretty warm like most of the country. And that warming for the country is actually due to what's called an El Nino. We take a look at conditions along the equator in the Pacific Ocean, where you have a warm water mass off the coast of Asia, this cold water mass off the coast of South America, and these trade winds that move from east to west, with kind of balancing the two out. As we get into El Nino events, though, these trade winds, they will weaken a little bit, giving a nice opportunity for this warm water mass to make its way over to South America. And now during particularly strong El Nino events, this warm water mass can actually overcome the cool water in the Pacific Ocean. And what does that mean for the United States? Well, we could see a warmer than average winter this year because the jet stream that usually comes down bringing us that cold air won't really make it to the central part of the United States like it usually does. And since we are warmer than average, a lot of people are getting in those last picnics, but you could have some unwanted guests.
Fall is a time for leaves to change, pumpkins to be carved, and the last picnics with friends. But not everyone at the table is quite so friendly.
Look, this is great. I mean, there's literally hundreds of them.
Hundreds of wasps. You may notice that there are more wasps in the fall than any other time of year.
Not only are there more of them, but they become more aggressive because there's less food, and so they're hunting for food along our garbage and in your soda, and everywhere they can find anything they can.
During a picnic, most people try to avoid these buzzing biters, but that's not the case with Matthew Eckhoff. He's a self-proclaimed wasp enthusiast.
I know they can sting me, I understand that threat, but they're just more fascinating to me than they are terrifying, I guess.
However, if you aren't like Matthew and don't want to risk the chance of being stung, there are ways to get rid of these wasps.
You can make traps with sugar, water, and a plastic soda bottle. They'll go into the sugar water and they'll drown.
You can also cover your food and drinks. While wasps seem like a nuisance, they do have a role in our environment.
So if you lose your wasp population, you tend to have an outbreak of maybe another kind of insect that we find even less desirable.
Although wasps can be a pain, they do have a purpose. I'm Kayla Lucky, reporting for Studio One.
And if you do find that you've been stung by a wasp, you can wash the area with soap and water, put some ice on it, and take an antihistamine. And with all this talk of higher than average temperatures due to El Nino, that brings us to our weather question of the week. What year holds the record for the strongest El Nino event? Is it 1997, 1990, 1982, or 1965? And now, Morgan, this year we could actually rival the record for the El Nino.
All right, well, thanks, Emily. Thanks, Kari. Now, Emily joins us in the studio with a final look at the weather. Emily?
Thanks, Morgan. As we take a look at our weather or temperatures for the next week, we're going to be above average for the next week in most of the country. For precipitation-wise, we're going to have precipitation or rain throughout most of the country as well. And that brings us back to our weather question of the week. What year holds the record for the strongest El Nino event? That was actually 1997. And in the Red River Valley region, we saw quite a bit of some historic flooding. And Morgan, that's the reason why we have our dike system today, and it actually kind of devastated quite a lot of homes.
The El Nino is good news for us. That means warmer weather.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks, Emily.